Today we're going to talk about something called as policing a turbulent democracy. When we talk about democracy, we definitely can think about the world's oldest democracy, which is United States of America, and world's largest democracy, which is India. Now, both these countries definitely have a parliament kind of a setup, whereas where in US we call it as US Capitol Hill, and here in India we call it as Parliament, right? Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Now, the other day, what happened in US was a violent mob, which is completely loyal to Donald Trump, attacked the historic Capitol building. Now, this actually brought down the sanctity of the parliament in the world's oldest democracy. At the same time, these kind of protests do happen in India, but the police in India try to maintain the crowd at least 1 kilometers away from the building, and if force is required, they use the force and keep those people right away from the building using at least water cannons. But this was not seen in America. Now, this clearly shows that the U.S. Capitol Police administration and also the intelligence have completely failed in protecting the sanctity of US Capitol building, which is one of the oldest building and very sacred for the world democracy. Now let's have a look at the comparison between the US Capitol Police and the Delhi Police, because the parliament is in Delhi and it is actually protected by the Delhi Police. Now, when we have a look at Delhi Police, it is basically was inserted into the Constitution through 69th Amendment Act, where it directly reports to the Home Ministry of Center. And at the same time, if we have a look at the police department, that is US Capitol Police, it is actually an independent police department which reports to the Senate President and House Speaker. So there is nothing called as central government over there. It actually reports to the House Speaker and the Senate President. Now, in India, we definitely have a great amount of force which is used, but unfortunately, this kind of force was not seen in America. Now, what I'm trying to say here is Trump could have easily called on the National Guard, which is drawn from Army and Air Force, to protect the building, but he did not do so. And only later on, when it became a big news, he pulled the National Guard in to protect the sanctity of the building. Right. So the other thing that I would like to talk here is the police bias. Now, police bias, when we talk about India, we see that there is good amount of police bias when it comes to JNU in 2020 and Jamia Millia Islamia in 2019, where outsiders were allowed inside the campuses to physically handle the insiders, but at least action was taken against those people who actually entered. But more action was taken on people who were already there in those campuses. There is a clear kind of police bias in that particular scene. And what kind of a police bias are we seeing here in US Capitol? For example, let's take an issue called Black Lives Matter. When it comes to Black Lives Matter protests, we see there is ruthless amount of force used against these protesters. But at the same time, the Capitol Police did not take any kind of action as was taken in Black Lives Matter in this crowd, which is in majority a white crowd, and did not do anything. This clearly shows that there is good amount of racism involved in the police department, right? So there are police biases both in US and in India, but the police department, if it has to be efficient, it should not fall prey to any kind of ideologies, not fall prey to any kind of racistic feelings, right? So policing in a democracy is definitely a complicated thing, but at the same time, the administration has to ensure that there is good amount of autonomy to the police department to handle its own things the way it wants to. At the same time, there should be good amount of political executive control on it, so that there is no police excesses committed, right? So hopefully there is good amount of learning from this event, and both police departments back in India and US, they learn and rectify this issue, right? So until next time, have a good day.